Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the very first Brentwood Chamber of Commerce Member Spotlight webinar. The purpose of the webinars is to replace what was the Meet the Members events, which we were holding regularly throughout the year until we were forced to stop them due to the coronavirus. We thought it would be a good idea to carry on meeting the members and find out a little bit more about the members, so hence today's Member Spotlight event. And our very first guest today is Michelle Andrews from Special Needs and Parents, otherwise known as SNAP, and we'll be talking to her very shortly. My name's Colin Barber, and I'm the chairman of Brentwood Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be hosting this afternoon's webinar. And I'd like to welcome you all very, very much, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. If you do need to leave early, or if you've got some friends who haven't been able to watch the webinar, then we are recording it, and it will be available very shortly on the Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel. As I say, the idea for the Member Spotlight came about because of the need to stop our face-to-face meetings, and we did find that we were getting a lot of benefits from holding the Meet the Members, where we're asking members to host all the chamber members at their business premises. Obviously, we can't do that, but it doesn't stop us having the chance to find out about some of our chamber members. And the idea is that if you find out a little bit more about some of the other members, it may mean that you'd be in a position to do business with them, or it may be in a position to do business with you. And also it might be that you can learn something from the way in which they run their organisation, which you could perhaps adapt to your organisation. So it's all about helping each other and finding a little bit more about how all of us run our businesses or organisations. So just to mention to you also, if you do have any particular questions which you want to ask during the webinar, there is a Q&A button. And if you want to hit the Q&A button, then if you contact, if you send a question in, then that will give me a chance to put it to Michelle during the webinar as well. I can't guarantee I'll answer all your questions, but if there's something particularly you would like to ask Michelle, then do hit the Q&A button, and I'll be able to ask her your question. So really it just remains for me to introduce Michelle and have a chat with her and find out a little bit more about SNAP. So Michelle, are you there? And would you like to unmute your mic and introduce yourself?
Hello there, Colin. Thanks.
Hi, Michelle.
This afternoon. Nice to be with you all.
You're very welcome, and thank you for joining us. So we're going to talk to you for around about half an hour or so about SNAP, find out a little bit more about SNAP. And as I said to you before, one of the key things I'm interested in doing is finding out what makes SNAP successful in terms of a publicity which they get for their organisation. So perhaps you could start by just telling a little bit about yourself, Michelle, and how long have you been at SNAP?
I've been at SNAP now for 4 years, and I'm the events and marketing manager. Right,
okay. And have you been in that role since you joined SNAP, or have you sort of worked your way up? Or
Yes, I joined in that role. I started out many years ago, unfortunately, as a graphic designer after leaving art school, working for various creative agencies and blue chip companies, and then diversified over the years to bring all that creative thinking to a range of other areas, including events and marketing, public sector and other organisations, and then increasingly the charitable sector and the local community that I live in.
So are you able to utilise all the skills which you've picked up in your career, in your current role?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I love bringing all that creativity to the role I've got now.
Oh, okay, right. So tell us a little bit more about SNAP. I mean, I've heard of them, but obviously some of the people watching maybe don't know too much about SNAP or what they actually do. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit first of all about what you actually do, and then maybe we'll look at your background, and how it came about in the first place.
That's fine, yeah. Well, as you can see from the banner, SNAP, Special Needs and Parents, we're an Essex charity for families with children and young people who have any special need or disability. We have a bespoke base in Brentwood, and SNAP offers helping hand to thousands of families who need support in a variety of different ways. We've been going now for 26 years, and last year, for our anniversary year, we realised that we'd helped over 5,000 families in that time. You don't need any formal diagnosis or professional referral to come to SNAP to access our services, and we're available for families and children, for families who've got children and young people from ages 0 to 25.
Right, so that must take quite a lot of organisation managing all those people. So how many people actually work for SNAP then? Or?
We've got 19 members of the SNAP team, a fantastic SNAP team, love all my colleagues. And then obviously we've got an extended team of experienced counsellors, specialist consultants for talks, etc., tutors for some of our activities, and obviously over 100 volunteers that help us out during the week on the family side and the fundraising as well.
Right, so the volunteers are obviously a key part of your organisation. Yeah.
Most definitely, we couldn't operate without our wonderful volunteers.
Yeah, yeah. So coming back to your role then, what does your role actually entail on a, well, so what does it entail? I guess it's changed a bit in the last couple of months, hasn't it? Let's talk first of all about pre-corona times. What would your role have entailed before the coronavirus, your particular role?
Yeah, indeed. I've got to remember back now. It seems a long, long time ago, doesn't it? We're only talking about March.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally throughout the year we have a calendar of fundraising events ranging from afternoon teas and golf days and quiz nights, etc. So I'd organise all the input into those, and then obviously on the marketing side, it's raising awareness of all our family activities for other families to be able to hear about us and get involved, and obviously help the fundraising team to spread the good word and help bring in the money. So
in terms of your fundraising, do you get a grant from government or from any sort of grants, or is it just fundraising that funds your organisation?
It's everything you can think of to go into that pot. It's a very small team, and we work with corporates and trusts and foundations. We get some grants, limited grants, but it is individuals out there fundraising for us, working with companies, other organisations, etc. Everything goes into the pot to help with the money in.
And so we'll come back to your role, and how has that changed in the last 2 or 3 months?
Well, the events bit has gone down somewhat and the marketing bit has exploded.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, there's lots and lots of things we've been doing at the SNAP Centre. We closed, unfortunately, obviously had to close the centre on March the 23rd now, and we'd already got plans and procedures in place so that we were able to roll out working from home the next day, and we've been building on all those services we've been able to offer people remotely ever since, and still do each week.
So have you been able to offer, when you say working from home, have you been able to operate the SNAP services in the full set of services you would have operated anyway?
Everything we've been able to adapt, we've adapted. So we've got our SNAP phone and email helpline, offers a listening ear to families and support, and that works Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, manned by our team, our family support team, and that runs all the time anyway, but obviously that's been coming especially to the fore during the current period. In the first 2 months, I've got it here actually, our helpline and email answered over 1,500 calls and emails. So as you can imagine, lots of families out there looking for assistance. We produced a family coronavirus family guide. We're good at producing lots of resources for families. So, and that had lots of different information sheets on relevant topics at the moment. Our counselling continued. So obviously our counsellors working with families they're already working with, and also other families in crisis, and that's either on the phone or by Zoom or by Skype. Some of our activity services that we were able to adapt, so drama, yoga, music therapy, we've been doing those via Zoom as well. So our children and young people have been able to join those sessions, which is great because it keeps a bit of continuity going for them, and they've all been loving that as well. They're really loving that, so that's marvellous feedback for that. We've got a Facebook live session that we have as well on a Friday morning, which is with our resident music therapist Emily and a couple of members of the SNAP team. And music is certainly bringing everybody together. It's been referred to as the SNAP radio station now. So that goes out live, and there's various kind of songs are sung out in the morning, and people can make requests and everything. So that's everyone's been really loving and appreciating getting that. And we've been running our specialist talks as well. Obviously, when we're in the centre, we've got an activity hall that can hold up to 100 people for a specialist talk and training. And we've taken those online as well. And we've been running a programme for the last couple of months, really, again, on relevant topics that are supporting people during the lockdown. Yesterday, we had one on sleep strategies to help children's sleeping patterns, and next week we've got a talk on anxiety. So yeah, a lot going on, and we're working on new things all the time. We started a preschool online Zoom kind of an online session that people can attend every week for preschool as well this week. So we're constantly trying to evolve and think, what can we do next?
So how does, talk me through, how does someone become a client, I suppose that's the right word, of Snap? How do you, obviously you don't recruit clients as such, but how does a parent or someone come into contact with you? And are you able to offer help to everyone that comes to you, or do you have to vet the people who want your help? How does it actually work, the sort of signing up process?
We will help anyone that rings us up or that comes to the centre. We'll find if they're out of our area, you know, quite often we get calls from other counties as well. We'll direct them to services in their counties. But we will always do our best to help everybody that rings. And generally, that's how everyone makes their first contact with us. They hear about us by referral or from one of our partner organisations that we work with. And they'll put people in touch with us. And then from that initial call, people will quite often come into the centre and have a kind of face-to-face conversation with one of the family team, and then we'll see which best ways we can help them going forward.
Right. Okay. And have you ever had an increase or a decrease in the amount of people wanting to access your help during the Corona period? Or
we've certainly, more families have been registering with us every week since lockdown as well. So
right.
Yeah, no problem. As I say, there's no professional diagnosis or referral needed. So yeah, if someone rings us up, we will join them to Snap and help them as much as we can.
Okay. And I don't know if it's a question you can answer. How long does someone typically be a client of yours? Is it years or is it months? How long do you normally? For example, if a child comes to you, are you normally helping them until they become an adult, or is it just like a short period of time until they get back on their feet?
No, we'll be there to help people every step of the way. So right through their journey, and you know, if families are finding they're okay for a little while, we might not hear from them, and then we'll hear from them again when they may have a certain transition time that they're going through or something. But we'll be there for people all the way through. Right.
Okay. Good. And we've got quite a few questions coming through, actually, so maybe I'll just hit a couple of questions whilst I'm talking to you. The first one was one I was going to ask, actually, which we sort of covered some of it, which is what has been the main challenge for Snap as a result of the virus, and also what is the expected shortfall of funding that Snap need to make up?
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if you can pluck a figure out of the air, but
yeah, indeed. Well, obviously we've lost a lot of revenue that would have been coming in through people's individual challenges and events we would have held. You know, everything that people can generally think how any charity wouldn't be bringing in money at the moment. And we've had various different fundraising campaigns over the time to kind of try and pull some of that money back in. But yeah, so there's a big challenge, I must admit. And we're doing everything we can in every direction again, kind of to bring that back in.
Yeah. And just to clarify, you exist for, you're based in Brentwood. Are you just there for Brentwood families and Brentwood children, or?
No, not at all. We obviously have our centre in Brentwood, so various families can access the centre for all activities, but we also have a lot of online resources, and obviously our parent talks, more people can access, and especially now as everything's online, then you know more and more people can access. So really it's right across Essex that we support families.
Right. Okay. What about outside of Essex? I mean, if someone lives in, you know, another county, or even lives in another country, can they access your Zoom sessions, or how does it work?
Yes, no, certainly. Yeah, they could get in contact with us, and I think we've had a few cases of that as well. And they'd be welcome to join one of our specialist talks in the end. And again, if there was some kind of resource that we had that we could send them out to help with whatever issues they were having, we would certainly do that.
Right. Okay. Do you have any plans to open any other centres outside of Brentwood, or are you very much focusing on Brentwood at the moment, or is that something that you wouldn't know?
Well, we'll track the money for that. Yeah, no, we're concentrating on our Brentwood centre. It's you know, all the team are really missing the Snap centre. it's a real vibrant and amazing place for families to come. It's a safe haven, and it's a really inspiring place for supporters to come and visit as well. So when we're up and running again, everyone's welcome to come around and have a cup of tea at ours. And you know,
tell us a little bit more about the centre, because obviously it's not always been there since you first started. I mean, how many years has that been open now, the centre?
Yeah, well, so SNAP was actually started, as I say, kind of 26 years ago by a group of parents that were looking for provisions for their children that had special needs that they couldn't find. So quite amazingly, they decided that they would start a group themselves. And so that started out as a parent and toddler group back in Keys Hall in Brentwood. I don't know if people know that.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And then, we moved to the SNAP Centre 13 years ago. It was a shell of a building, and an amazing team that were SNAP then just had the vision of what it was going to be, and they also had to fundraise an incredible amount of money as well. And just what it took for them to get that started was kind of, in the beginning, it was incredible, and then to get the centre that we've got now as well was. And every inch of the building is used, and it's used for multiple different purposes, etc. So all that initial planning in the beginning by a small team was just hats off, incredible. Incredible.
And do you have an outdoor area there as well, do you, or is it just indoors?
Yes, no, we do have a little terrace area as well, so it's lovely. We've got a specialist library that has over 2,000 books and resources that families are able to access. We also have counselling rooms. We have an upstairs centre and a big activity hall as well. So the activity hall in the day, one moment it can be doing a yoga class for our young children, then it can be a drama club at another point, and then it can be doing a specialist talk in the evening. So the centre really does get some use.
Yeah. So again, I don't know if there's a typical answer to this, but say you've got a particular child who's comes to SNAP. Would they normally come every day or once a week, or how does it work? Or does it depend on their particular needs?
Yeah, it depends on their particular needs. And we've got different clubs happening for different age groups throughout the week. The SNAP calendar always looks really full, actually, with lots of things going on. And we'll just direct them to the best service to help them.
Yeah. Okay. So just sort of moving on to your fundraising, your profile. I always think of SNAP as having a very, very high profile compared to some charities. You seem to be very well known in Brentwood, and I noticed that a lot of companies, for example, they have a charity of the year, and often I see that SNAP has been chosen as their charity of the year. What's the secret? What's your key? How is it you managed to make your name so well known?
Yeah, I must admit, when I was looking around to work somewhere in the community, I knew SNAP had just this fantastic first-class reputation, and I felt really privileged when I joined the team. I think our SNAP approach is to just really give a first-class service across the board and really treat everyone specially. So, anybody that comes to the SNAP Centre, whether you're a family or a supporter, or you're someone delivering the post, or you're someone fixing the boiler, or maybe the VPN line at the moment, although obviously we're not there, everyone gets treated specially. And I think that really breeds a a lot of love for SNAP. We love being part of the community. We love being in the local area. We love being a special part of it, and we love working with all the other people in the community around us as well. It's a real special place, SNAP.
And is that, just to pick up on that, because I'm really fascinated by this, you say that, for example, the postman or the boiler repairman that gets treated especially, is that something that you actually talk about as a philosopher, or is it just something that happens automatically and you're just aware of it?
That's a good question, Colin. I think we as a team just do it automatically.
Yeah.
But that is also just our philosophy, to make everyone feel special, to make everyone feel like they're the only people we're working with, or the team works really hard to make sure we treat everybody that well, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So it must be a great place to work.
Yeah, it is a lovely place to work, actually.
What do you particularly like about your job?
I mean, you know, obviously, I've got to say that, you know, obviously the difference that we make to families on a daily basis, that I can see on a daily basis, is really special, really special. Obviously, it goes without saying. All the team feel that way. But I also love the chance to be creative as well. You know, the charity sector certainly isn't awash with money. So it's always pleasing to get results by making most of the resources that we have. And that quite often means, you know, you need to think a bit more creatively. It's good to see a gem of an idea come together and make some money or etc. You know, marketing on a shoestring budget certainly makes you think creatively about ways to raise awareness.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to be creative in the if you've got to raise money. Yeah. And you mentioned some of the things you've done during the lockdown. You mentioned Snap Radio and playing music and everything. What are there some things which you've introduced during the lockdown which you think actually we'll definitely carry on with that in the future? And how will you do? I'd say do business, probably not quite the right word. How will you function differently as a result of things you've learned and experienced during the lockdown?
I definitely think it's been special to see how all the communities come together. You know, there've been so many small and large scale initiatives that have gone on. I think that's wonderful to see such a clear demonstration of what a fabulous area we live in and how the community all comes together. And certainly for Snap, there are definitely things that you know, we've had to adapt the technology and get our head around learning all the tech skills and everything, as lots of us have. And definitely we'll be able to take some of that forward to be able to build on the people that we can reach and support, definitely. You know, where our specialist talks, for example, have gone online, you know, that might be a way in the future more people can access those talks going forward. So there's definitely lots of positives we can take.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Good. Yeah, I think most organisations will find that there's various ideas which they've introduced during the last couple of months, which actually think they realise actually this actually benefiting their business. So as is often the case, there are always some benefits, however much adversity we face. Just a couple more questions actually people are asking me. One person said, you mentioned volunteers before. Is it still possible to get involved as a volunteer at the moment, even with lockdown? So are you still having new volunteers, or can someone still do voluntary work for you at the moment? And what sort of things could they do?
Some of our sessions have got volunteers that we already know that are joining some of our activities. So the children already, you know, they help out in those sessions when we're normally in the SNAP centre. But certainly going forward, yes, we're always looking for new volunteers for both the family side and the fundraising as well. You know, hopefully when we're back to this new normal, you know, whatever the new normal is, and we're able to run events again, then you know, volunteers that can come along and just give their time even for a couple of hours can really make a big difference to being able to be at a community event and raise money. So
and
we're always looking for volunteers, yes.
And presumably the volunteers can choose how many hours they work and sort of flexibility in terms of what support they offer to you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we have volunteers that come into the centre once a week to help us, and we have people that help us on an ad hoc basis.
Yeah. Good. Okay. And I guess this question's come from someone maybe works for another charity. They've asked me, have you used the government funding scheme for charities, or have you applied for the government's funding scheme for charities? And if so, how did you get on?
Yeah. Oh. Yes, we have. We have a fabulous person that looks at our trusts and funds, and has been doing a marvellous job to kind of you know, apply for as much as we can do. So, and we have had some success. So, but obviously, you know, there's still a massive hole to fill.
Yeah. So, and that prompts me to another question. Actually, I mean, not just about money, but generally speaking, how. Obviously, this is a webinar going out to the Brentwood Chamber of Commerce members primarily, which is obviously the businesses in Brentwood. How can the chamber members help Snap? I mean, obviously, we could all send you a cheque for, you know, £1,000, which would be great. But are there any other? Shall we?
We'll
settle for that as a starters, yeah. But what about in practical terms? How can we or our members, what are there practical ways that they can help? I mean, obviously maybe volunteering is one thing, but what other ways can the not just the members of Chamber of Commerce, I guess, but I mean the community of Brentwood as a whole, bearing in mind there is a lot of other charities out there as well looking for support. What can we do to help?
And all charity, you know, all charities are doing invaluable work throughout the community. So, you know, there's very valid reasons to support lots of charities. We, on our social media, we're quite active on our social media, on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We put out lots of our messages in there. So anyone that can help share those messages, that would be fantastic. If anybody hears of a grant, like the person who just asked the question, that might be of use to help to us, then that would be fantastic to hear about as well. You could email into SNAP. All our details are on our website, snapcharity.org. There's also a donate button there as well, but I'll leave that there. Yeah, just any way to help us raise awareness is fabulous now. And then when we're back in our centre, you know, come down and see us and have a look around, and, you know, kind of, there's lots of pluses for joining up your business with a charity, as we all know. So we'd love to be involved. You know, we really look after all our partnerships that we have with organisations and businesses, and yeah, we'd love to talk to people about support going forward.
You said just then there's lots of pluses of involving your business with a charity. Some people that may be obvious, but to some businesses that might not be quite so obvious. Would you like to expand on what some of those pluses are? What are the benefits? I mean, looking at obviously it's altruistic to help a charity, but what are the benefits, maybe commercial benefits even to, or goodwill benefits to a business of helping a charity? Could you expand on that?
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, over the years, more businesses have recognised that getting involved in community activity is a good thing to do. It's not only morally right, it does have a good business purpose as well, doesn't it? It's been proven that employees who are engaged with the business they work for are more likely to be productive. And doing the right thing as a business does help organisations retain and recruit people as well. You know, especially kind of younger employees as well. They can be, you know, driven by a purpose, can't they? There is a lot to be said for companies investing in the local communities in which they operate, proving that they can make a positive difference to local lives. Businesses who partner with charities like SNAP are not only doing the right thing, they're reaping business benefits. It's kind of a win-win for all parties, isn't it? You know, it raises public awareness of a business. You can market your company and your brand in an innovative way with a charity. You can highlight your company's corporate social responsibility programme. You boost employee morale, as I said, by organising fun events, etc. And just reinforce your own business's reputation as a caring employer and a great place for people to work. And obviously there's various different ways we can work with businesses to do that. Charity of the Year, payroll giving, match funding, getting involved with our events and challenges, sponsorship, and even sometimes it's just gifts in kind. So as well as money, it may be that your business does something that can help us in some way, printing our marketing materials or, you know, something like that. So there's lots of different ways to get involved with us, and we certainly work with businesses to get the best for both of us out of it.
Great. Well, that certainly gives us an idea of the benefits of supporting organisations like yourself.
I do apologise.
No, that's all right. That's very important, actually, because, as I say, there's some things that people may not be initially aware of in terms of how they can help you. So, yeah, as I encourage all members, anyone watching, to if you think of how you can help local organisations, particularly ones who might be struggling at the moment. So, yeah, so thanks very much for that. And we would very much like to come and visit you in your centre once it is open again. As I said at the beginning of this webinar, the original idea for this webinar came from our Meet the Members events, where we ask members to host us at their premises so that all the other members can come and see. And we were planning to do one of those, obviously, and that was cancelled because of the corona. So we do very much hope that we can fit that into the calendar as and when things get back to normal, which I'm sure they will at some stage. So we'll get there and we'll arrange a date with you. So, well, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon, Michelle. It's been really interesting talking to you. As I say, this is the very first of our Member Spotlight webinars, and so you were the guinea pig. Thanks very much for agreeing to be the guinea pig, and I hope you found it interesting yourself. And
about that, Colin.
As I say, it's the very first one. We're planning to run them initially every couple of weeks, see how they go, and see what the response is. And let me just tell you about the next one, if I can just bring it up on our screen for you to see. We've got coming up in 2 weeks' time on Thursday afternoon, the 25th of June, Matt Berry from, actually, I think that's a spelling mistake. I should be Matt Barry, not Matt Berry. Sorry about that, Matt. From Blue Serif on Thursday, the 25th of June, so 2 weeks' time. Now, Matt runs a creative brand design agency called Blue Serif. I know he started up in his shed in his back garden a few years ago, so I wonder if he's back in the shed at the moment working. Obviously, all the restrictions on office working. Anyway, well, that's one of the questions maybe we can ask Matt when we speak to him in a couple of weeks' time. So, as always, if you'd like to join us, then do sign up for the webinar, and we'll be happy to join you in 2 weeks' time. And if you've got any questions which you'd like to put to Matt, then do let me know either on the day or in advance. Just also to mention.
Can I just say one quick thing? Could I interrupt one?
Yes, sure, Michelle. Please do.
There's a neat link from Snap to Blue Serif. In that Blue Serif worked with us to produce a new website a couple of years ago now, and they were just a fabulous organisation, and they're a fantastic example of a business being in an area and really being involved in the area and the community they live in as well. They do a they certainly really understood us really well, and the benefits of having a new website designed by Blue Serif have been fabulous. So just thought I'd say that, if that was all right.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, what your introduction could we have for our next guest, Matt from Blue Serif, in 2 weeks' time? So yeah, so one of the things we can ask him about is designing your website, so that'll be something interesting to talk to him about. So as I said, that's in 2 weeks' time on Thursday, the 25th of June. Details will be on our website very shortly. Also, you may be aware that we in conjunction with Brentwood Business Partnership and Brentwood Borough Council, the Chamber of Commerce hosts the Backing Brentwood Business webinars, and they take place on a Friday morning. So we've got one tomorrow morning, and we'll be talking to Veronica from Carers First. It's actually National Carers Week this week, and there are a lot of people who've well, a lot of people who are carers anyway, but we think that there are probably more people who are becoming carers as a result of the coronavirus and perhaps having to look after people they didn't otherwise have to look after. And that obviously can affect employers, it can affect you as an employee. So we'll be looking into a little bit more about how that affects people by being a carer. So that's tomorrow morning at 9:30 on the Backing Brentwood Business webinar. Again, all details on the Chamber website. So all that remains really is for me to say thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. If you weren't able to join us at the beginning, I know some people joined during the event, then it will be loaded on our YouTube channel probably sometime tomorrow, so you'll be able to watch it and obviously recommend it to any of your friends who weren't able to join us. And just like to say a big thank you to you, Michelle, for joining us this afternoon, and wish everyone a good evening, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.